The Gezi movement was certainly important. It has good sides and some negative sides as well, I must say. The initial Gezi movement was actually a group of urban, liberal-leaning, generally young people who wanted to claim public space and green areas vis-a-vis what they see as crony capitalism. Plus, they defended their right to protest against the government's decisions. They were generally respectful to tolerance. They had different groups, some religious people as well. Most people in Gezi were not religious themselves or practicing themselves, but they respected religious traditions. That's why they welcomed an iftar, a fast-breaking dinner. That's why they honored the Kandil, the holy day that people refrain from drinking, for example. So that's the good side of Gezi, and I sympathize with that liberal message within the Gezi movement. But some people who joined Gezi in the later stages were also a bit aggressive in their behavior. They used some vulgar insults against the prime minister. Some of them engaged in vandalism, and that's the downside of Gezi, I must say. And the tragedy is that religious conservatives, the pro-government religious conservatives, only focus on those negative images of Gezi. They even exaggerate it, and they demonize the whole Gezi movement as this kind of almost an Islamophobic, element that has risen in Turkish society. That is unfair to Gezi, but also Gezi people could have done maybe a better job in terms of condemning some of the excesses on their side as well, which could have allowed their message to go through the religious parts of society. Here's this problem in Turkey. The religious conservatives for decades have been ridiculed, demonized, oppressed by an authoritarian secularism. Now they are in power, and they enjoy power. They don't want to lose it, and of course this makes them aggressive, paranoid. This makes them stick to power. So we will have a new opening in Turkey, a more liberal opening, only when the secular side proves that they're not trying to bring the old regime back, the dark days when the headscarf was banned and religious conservatives were marginalized. They really want now freedom for themselves and for everybody as well. In that sense, Gezi was actually a contribution to the public square. Well, parallelisms between the Arab Spring and Turkey sometimes make sense, sometimes they might be a little misleading. The Arab Spring was mainly an uprising against the long-time dictators who never allowed free and fair elections in their countries. So people were trying to have the ballot box for the first time ever in Egypt or in Tunisia or in Libya and in Syria, which of course failed and turned into a civil war. In Turkey, the reaction was against an elected, therefore like democracy-wise legitimate government, but elected but authoritarian and growingly assertive government. Therefore, Gezi was not the equal of Tahrir, although it had some similarities. It has similarities in the way it organized, it has similarities in some of its demands, but ultimately Erdogan tells to Gezi people, well, if you don't like me, go and vote in the ballots. And if you don't like me, bring me down with vote, which they can't. Of course, then the problem is that Erdogan has a majoritarian understanding of democracy. He thinks that he's elected and he can do everything.